Every trip to the Himalayas starts in Kathmandu, and Kathmandu is, well, it's just an adventure in itself. Traffic, crowds, pollution, yeah, it's there. But plenty of color, and the food is amazing, and it's super reasonable. And then once you get to Kathmandu, you gotta get to Lukla, which means you navigate the domestic terminal at the airport. 24 hours later, we did have a massive delay. We finally made the tarmac. There's Upresha, the guide, super friendly, super nice, super helpful. There's the plane, cram full of cargo, and yes, there were 2 seats, just for us. Thankful for that. Finally, after 3 days of travel from the States, we are on our way to Lukla. 35-minute flight. Super kudos to the pilots who negotiate crazy mountain winds, and the runway in Lukla is about the size of a postage stamp. So, yeah, adventures abound. And we finally made it. Yay. And there's the runway. Need I say more? Okay, so we've landed in Lukla. Yay. Everyone starts here. And just for an overview, this is, basically what we're doing. And there's so many options. There's the 3-pass route, or you can just do a straight shot up to Everest Base Camp. A lot of people do that. Or what I did was this route, and then back down. Just depends on how much time you have. The first section of the trip is you land in Lukla and you go up here to Pakting. So we're in Pakting. I don't know, it's a 3-hour hike from Lukla, and it rained a lot. It's a slog. But amazing, ridiculous, saw things that I've never seen before. Highlights that you didn't see, just trains, trains of donkeys, jabkes, which are yak-cow combinations that haul stuff up and down the mountains. Hopefully it'll stop raining. That was miserable. Nice 42-degree rain is always fun. Anyway, gotta run, eat, and go to bed. Hotels are real similar to this one. Actually, this is a really new one. And the center of these is a dining hall with a pellet stove full of people from all over the world, including the locals who are just super cool to hang out with. Second section that everyone does, you wake up in the morning there at Pakting and you go up to Namche Bazaar. This section here is all uphill from this riverbed. All uphill. But you do get your first view of Everest there. And the sun came out. Man, it was a gorgeous day. A little warm. Actually had to unlayer and readjust, but look at those sights. Yeah, I know. Gaining some elevation. Here's a stop at the park where you got to check your permits, let some donkeys through, and get some lunch. This is the dabat, national dish of Nepal. You got lentils, curried vegetables, some green spinach. I forget what that's rice. I forget what this is. It's like a crispy bread, basically a ketchup. And here's the good stuff, the spicy stuff. Some sweet tunes along the way on another stopping point. Some local workers. And yeah, another stopping point. Rest stop here. Elevation is getting higher. You get your first look at the big one. Here's a couple of still photos of Mount Everest. Honestly, a pretty special moment to see it.
This is so cool.
I know, right? Totally cool. This is Namche Bazaar, a cool town. There's some group of doctors I met actually from New York. Open market, shopping for hiking stuff, everything you can think of, internet, coffee shops, beauty. Oh, of course, an Irish pub. I did not try the donkey piss. Thank you very much. I did go in and have a beer, though, and the coolest thing is just meeting so many people. These guys were from South Africa.
When you show this to your friends, tell them that you're the nicest yank I've ever met.
Buddhist tradition every morning. get a little fire going and some smoke to wake up the gods. Quick little hike above Namche on our way to Everest View Motel. Yeah. Thanks, Upresa. You're awesome. Yeah, check that view out. That was pretty impressive. And on the way back, we checked out the Tenzing Norgay Memorial, national hero, and rightfully so. Without him, Hillary would never have made that first ascent onto Everest. And then this is the next section of my hike, Namche to Tame. And elevation's starting to get to be an issue. It's 3820 meters here, which is over 12,000 feet. And yeah, so things are getting a little elevated. This is Tame. A little bit sucked in. There are giant mountains out there, but can't see them. Agriculture and tourism, that's what you got in Nepal. And friends. The coolest part about the dining hall is meeting people. This is Daria and Flo from Germany. Just hit it off with them, couple of real nice people, and had lots of fun hanging out. And with everyone, actually. Share stories and eat food and keep warm. See, I told you there was mountains. So the next morning, there's Upresa helping out another hiker with some advice. Appreciated very much. The next section of the hike was Tame up to Lumde. That was a pretty long hike. This was kind of halfway up to Lumde. Just obviously getting above tree line, a little bit windier, and spectacular. Into everyone's life, a little snow must fall. Especially up here. I'd actually be kind of disappointed if I didn't see snow. Just a tribute in the mountains as far as how quickly the weather can change.
Not bad. Almost stopped.
And we'll be okay as long as it's not up to here, right?
Yeah.
4 feet? Hey, it's Daria and Flo again. You kind of meet people and then you meet them again in each town, and it's kind of a social thing. But the sun came out after that little snow squall, and it was just, again, more spectacular things to see than you can almost process. The next section was Lumde to Gokyo Lake. In between was Renjola Pass. That's 5,360 meters, depending on who you talk to. Which is 17,800 feet. Plenty high for me. It was incredibly difficult. There was snow. Upresha loaned me his crampons because it was pretty steep and slippery, but made it. It wasn't pretty. There's no shots from here to here just because it was so much work. But I did get some stuff, pictures and video up at the pass. So didn't quite make it to 18. It's 17,886. But honestly, it's close enough for me. I don't really care. How does it feel? I kind of feel miserable, actually. It's kind of tough the last. Everyone's laughing at me. That was hard. I'm sorry. These guides, they just run up, have a few smokes up at the top, and then run down like mountain goats. But for me, it was tough. Happy to have done it. Unfortunately, got here too late, probably because of my slowness, and there's no view. We're socked in. I'm happy just to have been able to accomplish this, to be honest. That's fine with me. 114 more feet. I could give a shit. Oh my god. Okay. And then it was just a long descent into Gokyo, and that's where I pretty much passed out. Got to the room and fell in bed. The next day, the idea was to go from Gokyo up to what's called the fifth lake. There's a sequence of lakes here, and that gives you like this clear kind of shot at a view of Everest. That is, of course, if you leave early. It's a really good view of Everest right behind me, but we got here too late. It was really nasty down below, cold, misty, and for some reason we didn't leave, knowing that every morning these clouds have burned off. So we missed it, but we're going to wait and see if that little blob of clouds, cotton ball, moves so I can knock out some good photos. In fact, I'm going to insist upon it. Lesson learned. If you know what you're doing to a degree, insist on certain things with your guide. Don't listen to absolutely everything he or she may say. Because, yeah. Anyway, let's hope this clears. It didn't clear up. And the next day, we woke at 3 in the morning, headlamps on, to catch the sunrise. Basically because I was pretty bummed out from the day before. We did this hike again, and although the sun angle didn't really work out too well from a visual standpoint, just to be there as the sun was rising, up here, here's Tibet, and here's these mountains, and the sun is essentially rising over Tibet, and you're sitting here watching it. They call all this the roof of the world for very good reason. It was breathtaking, and this giant glacier, the remains of that glacier, cloud inversion that morning was amazing. And then, after that, we had to go from here back to Lukla in 2 days. That was a challenge. Super long day. We made it to a town called Mung, which is perched literally in the clouds, just suspended almost in air. Wow. That's all I can say, except sorry for the dirty lens. Yesterday we were watching the sunrise at Everest at 6 in the morning. That was a 16K hike. And we came down here to Mung, and that was another at least 16. I have no idea, actually. And now we've got a long stretch run to Lukla. One of the workers here at the lodge was like, she rolled her eyes and laughed at me. And another guide said nothing. He laughed as well. So it's going to be another long day, apparently. Well, we made it to Lukla, and for a reward, Upresha took me to his local watering hole. And it was very local, but whatever. It was pretty cool to be able to experience that. So from the fifth lake to Lukla.
To Lukla, yes.
2 days.
In 2 days.
Is that normal?
Actually, it is not normal. This is not normal. 3 days is normal. Okay? 2 days is not normal.
But we made it. Yay, we're happy about that.
Yeah,
so we get to do this.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers to you. So, okay, we made it back, and flights were leaving, and we were scheduled to leave that day to go back to Kathmandu. That's why we ran down the mountain. We had to make that flight. But, yeah, the wind picked up, and airport, well, it shut down. That happens a lot in Lukla. So what do you do when you're waiting 7 hours for a flight in Lukla with a bunch of Ukrainians? This. Ukrainians, they know how to have a good time. His name was Bull, and he could do shots of rum while standing on his hands. Yeah, like I said, what else would you want to do? Eventually, 24 hours later, we got out of Lukla and took off without incident, always a bonus, and literally had to say goodbye to one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. Those mountains. Overall, one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, but one of the most amazing things I've done in my life. May or may not go back. We'll see. But wow, one for the books, and thanks for joining me on my little journey.